Right, and welcome back. I'm actually becoming quite a regular now, and I hope you guys aren't getting sick of my face here. This is now the third week running, and yes, we are announcing some two awesome creatives and brand influencers for Godox South Africa, and it's going to be an awesome show. We're going to be interviewing Lood and Sherwin, and we have some fun as usual. But before we get going, I just want to inform you guys, and I'm sure you guys have seen, we're moving. And so firstly, please be patient. The lines, the numbers are still staying the same, but please be patient with us. The lines are up and running. Emails might be a little bit slow on the return because this transition can be quite difficult. Exciting stuff though. And yes, I know you can't see my face, which is great. You're meant to be seeing we're moving. And on the banner, you're going to see we're moving to 15 Angus Crescent, Edenvale, which is Longmeadow. Awesome new space, guys, and very exciting stuff I'm not going to talk about just yet, but very, very exciting creative spaces happening inside GPB and Godox South Africa. Um, so what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be bringing Lood Sherwin. I'm going to do this like immediately and welcome them, and we're going to get going with the show. So we're bringing in, here is Lood and here is Sherwin. Lood, Sherwin, welcome, brothers.
Hello, hello.
How's it, guys?
Yes. So, guys, listen. As we were talking behind the scenes in studio, we just want to get to know you guys. It's a very organic interview. This nothing serious, and again, it's about our viewers getting to know you guys. And to the guys watching, please help me with this interview. I've got some questions that I feel is pertinent to getting to know Lood and Sherwin. But please make comments. We'll put the comments up. And all three of us would like to see your questions. So we really encourage you guys to fire those questions away in the comments. But before we getting started, I'm sitting here now, probably for the first time in a long time with some Fujifilm shooters. But I always do a little bit of a due diligence, and during this time, I'm doing sort of a research on you guys. And of course, we know you all. We all love you. We know you from social media. We know your work. But there were a couple of things that I didn't quite understand. And I don't know if it had to do with the changing of camera system. But let's just talk about you, Lood. If we take a look here, I'm not seeing a food form. I'm seeing a Canon. I'm not seeing a beard. Then I'm seeing a Fujifilm, and I'm seeing a beard. So, can you tell us quite briefly what happened from year to year?
I think I got prettier.
You mean you got prettier with this picture, or you got prettier? Yeah.
No, definitely with the second one.
Okay. Yeah, definitely. And look, and we got it, Sherwin. I said no surprises, but for you, your turn's coming. I mean, again, we're sitting now. This is the reverse, guys. We've got now Sherwin with the
With the
Good
beard.
beard.
looking, good looking.
With the beard.
Lood with the Boki no beard changes. He gets the beard. You change to Fujifilm. You shave the beard. Now, do you think this is a camera system influence, or is it a? And this question is for you, Sherwin. I mean, this is a dramatic change, but and I'm
Huge
not just
change.
talking about.
Absolutely
Yeah,
huge.
it's an exchange.
It's an
Exchange.
exchange. Exactly.
Absolutely. Look, we may come back to those. I might just quickly do that because I love this image. Sorry about it. I love it. I love it.
Abraham, Mr.
No, I
Lincoln.
love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay, right, guys. So, generally these sort of
Oh, my
interviews,
word.
we sort of break the ice, and I'm actually very low. I'm actually in Aiden's chair. As you can see, it's just a youngster's chair. So what we're going to do, guys, we're going to break the ice, really get to know you informally without the cameras. I've got some quick firing questions. So they one answer questions. So see it as a verbal multiple choice, because I will tell you the two choices and you just say that. So, and I'll always use your name. So I will say Lood, and I'll say Sherwin, and then I'll fire the 2 questions away before we get into what is deemed as the serious part of the interview. Okay, right. So, Lood, rugby or cricket?
Rugby.
Sherwin, BMW or Mercedes-Benz?
BMW.
Lood, Ferrari or Porsche?
Ferrari.
Oh, I'm sorry, guys. We're gonna have to cancel Lood from the show. Okay, no. Sherwin, wine or beer?
Wine.
Lood, 35 ml or 85 ml?
35 mil.
I'm not talking the milliliters of tequila, eh? I'm talking focal length, eh? Sherwin, answer wisely now, eh?
Yeah.
Sony or Canon?
Canon.
Yo. Lood.
You saved this one for me.
I'm apologizing up front. I'm even going red. Olympus or Nikon?
Olympus.
Sherwin, Europe. Sherwin, Europe or America?
Europe.
Lood, sea or land?
C.
Sherwin, coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Lood, this is a yes or no answer. Auto, ISO.
No.
Good. Sherwin, Marvel or DC?
Marvel.
Lood, Superman or Batman?
Superman.
Sherwin, Die Hard or Johnny English?
Johnny English.
Lood, involving your genre, an angry bride or an intoxicated bride?
Angry Bride.
Sherwin, 56 mil or 90 mil? Speaking Fuji language now. 56 mil or 90?
56.
Oh.
Mm.
Lood, wildlife or landscape?
Landscape.
Sherwin, sunsets or sunrises?
Sunrise all the way.
Lood, Beatles or the Rolling Stones?
Beatles.
Sherwin, Venom or Spider-Man?
Venom.
Lood, Veldskoene or Nike?
Ja, Veldskoen, John.
Yo, go
Geelongo, baby.
that's it, my brother. Sherwin, Cape Town or Johannesburg?
Cape Town.
Lood, off-roading or the highway?
Off-roading.
Sherwin, dog or cat?
Dog.
Lood, yes or no answer. Tattoos.
Yes.
Sherwin, day on the beach or day in the studio?
Day on the beach.
Lood, this is an aperture question. F1.6 or F9?
F1.6.
Okay. Sherwin, this is a yes/no question. Back button focus?
Back button focus is a definite yes.
Yeah, that's
Definitely.
Lood, blue or green?
Blue.
Sherwin, yellow or orange?
Orange.
Lood, this is a rugby coach question. Kitch Christie or Rassie Erasmus?
Rassie Erasmus.
Rassie.
Sherwin, it's a soccer question. Liverpool or Manchester?
All the way Liverpool.
Okay. Lood, Schumacher or Senna?
Schumacher.
Sherwin, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson or Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
Lood, Julia Roberts or Charlize Theron?
Julia Roberts.
Julia Roberts.
You see, we're getting to know the guys. Right? We're getting to know the guys. Right, Sherwin, hamburger or salad?
Hamburger.
All the way, brother, all the
Oh,
way.
you can see it's all yeah. It's all yeah. It's all yeah.
Lood, this one's for Lood, braai or restaurant?
Right.
Sherwin, brown bread or white bread?
White.
And the last two questions, Lood, Bugs Bunny or Mickey Mouse?
Bugs Bunny. All the way.
And Sherwin, answer this wisely, Sherwin. Everyone's watching. Barney the dinosaur or the Teletubbies?
Definitely Teletubbies.
Definitely Teletubbies. Okay, guys,
Oh, brilliant.
do you know all their names, though, Sherwin?
No, of course.
Do you know all their names? Do you
Tinky
know the
Winky,
Teletubbies?
Dipsy, Lala, and Poe.
Poe. Oh, there we have it, guys. Okay, right. So, guys, we're going to keep in the fun, keep in the laughter, just keeping it nice and easy. And like I also said, we've got a lot of comments. We will get to the guys. Guys are commenting already, but I'll get into the interview. Just know I'm going to ask one and one and one and one. Okay, so 'cause otherwise, I know when Sherwin starts speaking, we might just fall asleep. We don't want that, Lood. So we'll keep things going a little bit. Yeah. So I'm going to fire the first question to you, Lood, and please mind me, I'm reading, and I've lost my glasses, so I've got to find the light. I've actually got a Godox TL60 tube lying down this side, yeah, for me. Right, so Lood, let's question one here for you. You have in your hometown as Delmas, which is largely known as a farming town. So does this mean that you're proficient in agriculture?
Well, I think I can still milk a cow and grow a millie, you know, and
Yes.
you know, and cut a steak and stuff like that. So
Okay,
I think I'll
so
be
you're
okay.
a good Afrikaner boy. You're a good Afrikaner boy. You can handle it
Yeah,
all.
I think so. I think so. Look,
Yeah, that's
if there's anything I can't do, then I'll call my dad and and get some
carry
guidance
on.
from him.
Yeah. Okay, right, Sherwin. So thinking back from when you transitioned from for all intents and purposes, a happy snapper to I can do this photography thing and actually charge for it. So the question is, what made you make that jump into professional photography, Sherwin?
I would say it's more the passion for it. Always enjoyed it, loved it, and then when I saw that I can make money from it, it was a win-win situation.
Okay, excellent, excellent. Right, so Lood, coming from a marketing and sales background, see, I stalked you a bit, huh? Yeah. So,
See that?
so would you say that this has benefited you in your photography business? So business as a whole, with the camera down on the table, the marketing and sales side, would you say it benefited you?
Yeah, I think marketing and sales. I mean, that's what any business is about. You know, it's about selling your product and finding the clients. And
Yeah.
I think the backbone of any business should be marketing and sales. And it's also kind of nice just to kind of have an idea of, you know, to kind of put yourself in on the other side of the line, of the line, you know, on the receiving end.
Yes.
So kind of perceiving it in a way that your potential clients will kind of look at you at. And so definitely, I think it's been really valuable to me in recent years.
Excellent.
Yeah.
No, very much so. Right, so Sherwin, how important is it managing the wedding client's expectations before the wedding?
I think that's one of the most critical parts of obviously dealing with the client. You have to keep the expectations in line with what you can deliver. If you if you miss that mark, you can so easily have an unhappy client, and to have an unhappy wedding client is even worse. So it's very critical. And it should be done very early in the discussions between you and the client.
So you say you also, I mean, you know, you obviously, you know, I can see immediately, and I know you're a friendly person, but when you sit down, you are the creative, and you also know that there's always problems on any. I'm going to use the word set, but from a wedding day. So are you firm with with your new clients? I mean, you're a friendly person, but at that stage when you're looking them in the eye, do you put on sort of a stern look and drive it home? Guys, this is how it's going to be.
No, definitely. I think at the beginning of obviously when you're dealing with a client, I put on my big boy pants.
Yeah,
I'm as straightforward as I can be. No taking it here or there. But as obviously I get to know the client, and as we discuss and obviously get to know one another, then
yes.
obviously I let them see my happier side.
Okay, that's nice. Well answered. Thank you. Right. Lood, it's a question that's been asked, and it's a serious question. Is being a wedding photographer sustainable in South Africa moving into 2022?
I think it is. I think what what's you need something that's going to set you apart from everybody else. What I found in recent months is that, especially after lockdown, was that there's a lot of brides that tend to kind of want to book you based on pricing in front of, actually before the look, And I think
Okay.
ideally, it wasn't like that all the time. And I think everybody took a bit of a knock during lockdown and so on.
Yeah.
And but I think the thing that's going to set you apart is something unique, something that just give them a little bit different perspective on what they could look like.
Yeah.
And that's it. So ideally, I think it definitely. I think there's definitely room for it. But you're going to have to kind of shape up, revisit your packages, and then kind of look at from a corner of a perceived value from the couple side. So it doesn't necessarily have to be something that is going to cost you more on your package. Perhaps something like a pre-shoot, or engagement shoot or something, or a night shoot, or whatever you can include for them. So it's not necessarily something that's going to cost you. But in terms of value, it's going to add a little bit on the perceived value from their side when they perceive the packages, when they look at it.
Okay, that's interesting. So you're basically saying, and it's interesting because I've learned something. You're basically saying value-added services and your competitive rate is now important, more as important, if not more, than having these dynamic images that you're showing.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Look, I think this is from the marketing side, right? So,
yeah.
but I think people, if people find you interesting and they find you likable, they're more likely to do business with you instead of doing business with a business, if that makes sense at all.
It does.
So people do business with people, so they don't do business with businesses. They want to
100%.
They want to connect with a person.
100%, and well answered. Thank you for that. Right, Sherwin, do you batch your wedding captures in LR, then sync your presets, or do you run certain images through Photoshop? So I've made it quite short, but I know a lot of people will download through Lightroom, do presets and bomb them out, or do you do your formals in Photoshop with fancy retouching? Just can you run through our process a little bit?
Okay, so what I do is, I love Lightroom. I think Lightroom is one of the most intuitive tools, especially for batch processing. So I bring it through into Lightroom. I obviously exposure correct.
Sherwin, woof, woof.
Yes.
Woof.
That's the dog outside. Yes.
Woof.
Come on.
Okay, so carry on. Yeah.
Yeah. So I bring it into Lightroom. And then obviously I start batch editing it there. I obviously do whatever presets, exposure corrections, I remove chromatic aberrations and all in Lightroom. Yes. From there, like the more major stuff, like if I need to do some sort of skin retouching, maybe removing stuff from the background, then I actually take it out into Photoshop. I bring it back into the catalog, and then once I'm done, I just batch process the whole thing. So I do large amounts of images on Lightroom, and I prefer the Lightroom and Photoshop combo. Yes. I think I just prefer it. It's just so much easier for me.
Well, obviously, LR sort of maximizes your workflow rate. If you've got,
I think it's amazing.
Absolutely, right. Okay, Lood, let's talk product. Would you say that Godox products, i.e. 8200s and 300s, have changed the way and the approach of shooting weddings and other genres, especially talking about your workflow rate on set using more compact and powerful strobes?
Yeah, definitely. I think I've actually done away with all my studio equipment that I had, the lights and so on that I had. And at the moment, I'm only using the battery-powered and operated Godox products and so on. The 8200s work very well if you want to do a quick setup at, let's say a corporate function, or you want to do some portraits or headshots. It's very easy to set up at the reception at your wedding. And I think the nicest thing for me is, well, there's a couple of things. Durability is amazing. The battery life is incredible on those all those things, and I really work them hard. And there's no wiring, so there's actually less stuff for people to kind of trip over, especially when you're at a function or a reception or so on, and the guests had a bit of a party before the time. Then it's it's a lot easier for you're not having all those extra wires and stuff lying around that they can trip over and damage the equipment. So that would be a definite yes, yeah. And the nice thing also is for traveling. I mean, we did a wedding recently in Namibia where I had literally in my bag, I had to kind of repack it a little bit, but I managed to fit in 3 8200s, my 8600, and my camera gear and the stuff that I needed, and the V1. So everything was literally packed in my backpack, and it was such a pleasure. Instead of having to book it in separately and kind of chase up the cost and all that stuff. So it's a definite yes from my side.
No, excellent. Thanks for that, Sherwin. Right. Yes. So, who or what was your main influence in changing camera systems?
This is a big question, eh? But if you have to go right back down to the beginning, it's gonna definitely be Robert Allen. Robert Allen of Photo Freedom Durban North. I think he was actually one of the most. He was really on my case for a while. There were a few guys like Prakash Pika. There was Emi Ojo, Mr. Lood Sherwin over here.
Yes.
But
who's that guy? Lood? Where's he? Okay.
Definitely Lood as well. But it was actually Robert Allen. I think he actually set me up. He lent me an XT3 for a wedding that I did, and that it absolutely ruined me. It was all downhill from there. It was all downhill from there.
Do you know, I got to tell you about Robert is that the very first GFX he did a sensor clean was mine. So I walked into Durban North and I was going, yeah, man, guys, I need my GFX cleaned. Robert said, yeah, I can do it. And he sat there and he said the proverbial no to me. He went, he was nervous and he went, this is my first medium format I'm cleaning. And I kind of went, can I have it back? And he went, oh, I've got it.
That's fine, I'll do it.
But they're awesome people down there, Photo Freedom.
Awesome the best. Absolutely.
Yeah, they really are good people. We enjoy them there. Right, so Lood, we're almost to the end and we're going to get to the viewer questions. So guys, please don't asking questions. Please carry on asking because you're helping me out a little bit. So Lood, extending on that previous question, with regards to compact gear, would you say that more natural light shooters are moving over to artificial lighting because of now TTL, high-speed sync, lithium batteries, small compact gear?
I think so. I think, look, I think everybody starts out somewhere or another being a natural light photographer. And I think the reason for that is, and there's nothing wrong with it, it's perfect. Learning your exposure and ambient and all of that stuff. But I think the biggest reason why people kind of avoid using artificial lighting is because it's very intimidating when you first start out with it, So, and there's not always opportunity to kind of prepare or get yourself ready for that wedding and so on. And a wedding or a function is not actually the best place for you to kind of learn how to use it,
Yes.
So I think the market is definitely changing. I think there's, especially with, look, there's still room. I know the Bohemian look is very in now for natural light and so on.
Yeah.
But I get quite a number of requests for more kind of dramatic like shots. You know, the transition between your shadows and the midtones and your highlights is a little bit more contrasty than the normal kind of natural light work and so on. So I think there's a definite shift in the market, especially with artificial lighting, continuous lighting as well, continuous lighting and flash photography and all of that.
Absolutely, and thank you for that answer. And guys, you're asking questions, and I'm telling you now, I'm getting to all of them because there's some very interesting questions coming up here, gentlemen. It's going to be interesting. Right, so coming towards the end as well, Sherwin, quite briefly, what is your favorite lens choice? Wedding and then portraiture, or you can combine them. But what would your favorite lens choice be? So we all know you shoot Fujifilm, so that's great. But which then focal length?
Okay,
Wedding and portrait.
with regards to weddings, I like the 50 to 140.
Okay.
Beautiful range. I don't like to be too up close and personal with the
Okay.
wedding clients. I like to actually keep a distance and catch, the more, memorable moments, while they're obviously busy.
Yes.
With regards to portraiture, the 90 millimeter is an amazing lens. Absolutely sharp, absolutely sharp. Autofocus is amazing. However, my choice will definitely the 56 millimeter f1.2.
No,
There's
there's a
just a
surprise.
there's a certain magic about that lens. I rather battle with the autofocus and get
Yes.
to get that magic about the lens than to
Yes.
go for the 90 millimeter. It's just magical. It's very close also to the 35 mm f1.4. There's just something
Yes.
different with the way they render images, but
Yeah.
definitely the 56 for portraiture.
Yeah. One thing about the Fuji lenses is cost effective and for what they produce. I don't, look here, I've got to be very careful what I say. So I've shot with them, I know them, and they are brilliant for what you're spending on them.
What you
Right.
spend, of
So
course.
yeah. So Lood, this is the last question. Then we're going to get onto the viewers' questions, which I can't wait. So guys, stay in line here. We're going to be asking all your questions, and you will be seeing your questions coming up. So Lood, we know you're a visual storyteller and a teacher. In previous years before pandemics, how did you balance being a professional photographer and a teacher? So what I'm saying is that even though there may be remuneration for teaching, it still takes up your time. So you can extend on this a little bit, yeah, and tell us about your teaching side as well.
Well, look, for me, it's basically the same thing, what normally I've got, we work with teams, so every year we will, I love the guys that works with me and so on. And while we're shooting a wedding, we basically bouncing ideas off each other and we learning from each other. So for me, I think teaching is actually part of the whole thing. So it's difficult for me to kind of separate the two. And the thing is, I love doing workshops and so on, and we did quite a number of them before lockdown for a number of years, So we love kind of do flash training and how does your camera work and all that stuff. So what we did last year during lockdown is we tried to take everything that we used to do at the actual workshops and put it, produce an online product. So we've got loodandmasterclass.com. Where we've kind of combined all of that stuff together. So there's about 26 modules or so that takes you literally from, from the buttons on your camera straight through to studio work, to how to shoot a midday sun, how to use multiple flashes, how to use on-camera flash, portrait setups. There's practical sessions, there's little questionnaires and stuff in there. So we kind of try to kind of bounce it that way. So, but to be honest, it's not quite the same for me. I love the interaction with people because I also learn, so while we're busy training other people, you also learn. But I think if you are stuck somewhere on an island or and you can't get to the workshops or whatever, then that might be a good starting point to kind of take you from A to Z and then, get onto the practical stuff and so on. It is a little bit time consuming. I think I miss my family quite a bit, so we also do like events and corporate functions and portraits and architecture and stuff like that during the week whenever opportunity presents itself. And then obviously Saturdays and Sundays, Fridays and Mondays, even now with weddings and so on. So we are getting quite busy with it. So it's difficult kind of getting a balance between the two. Also kind of balancing your family life with that. It is tough, but I think it's very difficult, you know. But I think in the next year, maybe not next year, but maybe 2023, things will kind of get back to the old normal that we used to know, you know. And I think then we'll be able to kind of presume to continue with the stuff the way that we used to, and have a little bit more time for the stuff that really makes you tick, you know. So
yeah, listen, from your lips to his ears.
Yeah.
In that sense. Okay. Right. So we're gonna get to a whole bunch of questions here, because they've been firing them. And of course, Godox SA brand ambassador Peter Peters, you can fire a question. Yeah. This is to Lood and Sherwin. So you can answer, Sherwin can answer first. And you don't have to justify, or maybe we've got to watch our time, but who is your favorite photographer in SA? Can only choose one.
No, but but you see, there's a problem here now. This is actually a big problem for me, because I should I'm in fashion, fashion and portraiture, and I'm in wedding photography. So I think I should at least be given one per genre.
Just one, Sherwin, one.
No, I have to be given one per genre. I have to. But with regards to
go for it. No, go for it.
With regards to, and the funniest thing is, and it's not something that's obviously maybe because of the live feed that we're doing now, but for some reason I've been following both the guys on the top here for the past few years now. My favorite wedding photographer in South Africa as a whole, he knows it. I've said it time and time again. I absolutely love him. Is Lood Sherwin. Lood Sherwin. LWG photography. No, it's the truth. You know that. I tell you time and time again, bro. And then when it comes to fashion and portraiture and off-camera flash, it's definitely this man up on the top this side. Yeah.
Thank you. So when he takes pictures, listen, that money we paid him is paid off.
When he takes pictures, that we can show to our families and
yes.
not get them to block their eyes.
Yeah, that's right. Right. You actually didn't have to answer that. Peter is stirring the pot, but probably
I know he is
very naughty. He's very naughty.
Yeah, you know, but I think the guys do know it's a general. You know, there are so many good guys, but you know, I think, and Lood, you can bypass this. It might be a bit political for you. You can.
No, you can't. You can't do that.
Okay,
I won't allow it. He has to.
Okay, go for it. Lood,
he has to give an answer. We want to know today.
Look, I have to say, both Peter and myself was nominated for that Godox Award thing for solidarity.
Yeah.
I actually went and I voted for him. You know,
yes.
So, but he's really inspiring. You know, it's very inspiring the way he kind of puts stuff together. And but I think for my industry, I've always kind of drawn a lot of ideas and motivation and inspiration from Trompie. So Trompie van der Berg was he was the first guy that actually showed me, and you know, and I've I don't know, he's still an inspiration for me, you know. So I learned so much from them.
For so many people, and he's such a good guy, you know.
Yeah.
I know there's a bit of arrogance in this industry, as there is, but Trompie is just like he's Volkskunde. Yeah, he's Volkskunde and Braai.
Yeah, you see. It's my boy.
That's it. Okay, so Monique Bosman's asked for you both, first for fun, do you prefer big or small bridal parties? And what's the biggest bridal party you have ever had to photograph? Sherwin, you can be up and keep it quite brief.
Okay, now I prefer the smaller ones. It's so much easier to manage. The big parties are too much. Then you got too many people to photograph, and you start getting lost in the moment. But the biggest that I did some time ago was, I think in total it worked out to about maybe 12 people with the bride and the groom. So that was big, and I didn't enjoy it.
Didn't enjoy it. And you, Lood?
I also prefer the smaller parties. I think it's a lot easier to kind of control them. It is very distracting when they are there, and you still need to kind of get a couple photos done, you know.
Yes.
So we normally get those shots and then send them off. But I think the biggest one we've done was recently we did an Italian wedding, and it was about the bridesmaids and the best man was about 18. So it was 20 with the bride and the groom all combined, you know. So it was a it was a crowd to manage. Yeah.
Sure. Jeez.
Yeah,
Right.
very
So
difficult.
Lauren has asked, and I know obviously, you know, Lood, your front man is this wedding and that, but I know you do portraiture. I mean, we know, you know. So you guys can both answer this. It's an interesting question. Lauren said, would you rather have an awkward model and an excellent camera, also a high quality camera, or an excellent model and a not so good camera? So we'll change it. Would you rather have a full frame or let's just go, because you guys are shooting crop sensors, but would you shoot with a Hasselblad with an awkward model, or would you shoot with a crop sensor camera but a professional model? Sherwin, you up?
I think honestly, I've never been someone that puts emphasis on equipment.
Okay.
Use what you have to the best of your ability. So I would rather have an excellent model and a crappy camera, and I know I'll still push some really good results, provided I've
Done.
got the nice lighting. So I'll be good.
Okay. You, Lood?
Yeah, the same. I agree.
Same.
Mm.
I would take the good camera and fire the model. Just replace her. That's fine.
I knew you were going to say that.
Or you have failed as a creator of having the crappy model on set, you know. But yeah, right. Let's just go to for you both. Marcel's asking a question. Yeah, to both of you, who is on average the worst? Who? Be careful how both of you answer this: the bride or the groom. Sherwin, you can be up first.
Honestly, I think thus far I haven't had a bad bride. I think all of the brides, as I said in the beginning, if you get to a point to where you manage their expectations, you
Yes.
shouldn't have any problems with the client. You have to manage expectations. They have to see what you are able to deliver, and if they are happy with that, then you shouldn't have a bad client. So I haven't had a bad bride or a groom so far.
Oh, but you're skirting the question here a little bit. On the day, I want you to put your camera down and look and say, in your experience,
Yeah.
who can be worse? You're skirting now. You better hope your
Okay.
clients aren't
Okay.
watching.
If in the case,
So
if in the case,
yes.
yeah. If you're saying in the case of
actually,
obviously on the day, it's usually the groom that's out of place. I don't know, for some reason the groom, most of the grooms that I've shot are out of place, and the brides want to actually enjoy themselves and take pictures and stuff.
okay,
Especially
that's
for
interesting.
posing and stuff. Especially for posing.
Okay,
Yeah.
and you, Lood?
No, I have to be very careful because I think Marcel was they were one of my couples.
Yeah.
Marcel, you naughty. No, you know.
So you're going to plead the fifth on that one.
The Fifth Amendment.
Yeah.
Ek pleit bewusteloos.
Yeah.
No, you know, I think it's true that what Sherwin says, you have to manage the expectation, you know, and I think when for me it's very important to kind of I tend to pay more attention to the bride on the day because you know the groom is he's there for the bride, you know, and
yes.
And I think they also know that, Marcel. And
well, you can see his reaction. Yeah.
Yeah, he's very naughty. I'm watching you. I still have to edit their photos, so watch it. No, but you know what? The thing is, the guests at the wedding, it's very rare that you know all those guests are kind of at the same place at the same time, and
yes.
it's a very big day, so it is a big deal. And the thing is, what happens with the bride is if the bride is quite emotional, then the guest normally picks up on the bride's emotions. You know, so if you want to have miserable pictures of guests and guests not enjoying the wedding, then you need to end up with an upset bride. You know, so we pay a lot of attention into keeping them calm and collective and so on, and you know, just give them the. It needs to be an experience. They need to have fun.
Yeah.
and then they have to kind of put everything else aside and remember why they are there on the day. They are there for each other. And so we pay a lot more attention to the bride's emotions and so on. I've got barrels and stuff in my bag as well always. So if they stress out, I just slip them a couple of of barrels. And but I think I've never had like a groomzilla or a bridezilla, so to speak. So but I do pay more attention to the bride.
Yes,
if that makes sense.
Same. I do the exact same thing. Bride. I think the bride is the most important person for the day.
And you can extend on that. Guys. I'm not a wedding photographer. I've shot 2 weddings of my friends. It was a no charger, and it was awesome. But the first one I remember so well because I knew these kids from a very young age, and as being the photographer, I got to share from that waking up in the morning and being nervous, and the moms coming in to all the way straight through to walking down at 1 o'clock in the morning, finishing up in the evening. But extending on that, you do become sort of a counselor, don't you? Even if you obviously you get to know your clients, but you're sharing such intimate moments and the goods and the bad. So you're saying you keep some very happy pills close by, or a shot of tequila. And do you find, Lood, that you've had to sort of calm brides down at some stages?
Yeah, no, definitely. Look, it's a big day for them. It's I think it's different in a sense on the groom side. When that little baby girl is born, mom is already kind of making wedding plans. So
yeah,
and it's always a princess, and everything kind of leads up to that moment in their life, and it's very overwhelming. And I say this with the most possible respect, okay, but there's a couple of things that will always, and I say this to the couples as well, there's normally about 4 things that stresses out the brides, okay? The first one is the mother and the mother-in-law. And it's not because they are in the way or whatever. It's just because it's very overwhelming for them as well. But the bride already being in that emotional state that she is in on the day, it just tends to kind of get a little bit too much, at times. And then our team also knows that, So we'll ask the parents to go and do something, just check on the flowers, go check on the ice, or whatever. Just to kind of give them a little bit of space so the bride can just recuperate. And then we'll counsel. You doctor, counselor, everything on that day, and the photographer. So and so you have
just carry on
everything for everybody. So I think it is the other few things, if you want to know, it's normally the shoes. The bride will get agitated, but she wouldn't know why. She changed shoes, she's going to feel a lot better. It could be the veil. It's uncomfortable, it's hot, so we take it off whenever, even if it's in the middle of the ceremony or whatever, then we get rid of it until we use it for the couple shoot again. The garter, we put the garter on. We ask the brides not to keep it on because it gets scratchy and, it's sweaty and so on, and it slips down and it's uncomfortable and so on. So there's a couple of things that we do pay attention to.
I didn't know all of that.
It's very important, I think so.
Rather you guys than me. Jeez. Okay, Sherwin. Here's I'm going to direct this question to you from Kenlin Sanderson. We all know Kenlin. How do you handle uncle with the iPad on the wedding day? And it's a very well asked and question, but very briefly, how do you handle old uncle with his iPad?
When it comes to weddings, at the onset of speaking to the bridal couple, I tell them obviously that on the day of the wedding, nobody's allowed to use phones. Nobody except for my team is allowed to obviously shoot and get in between. So when it comes to obviously the uncle and the auntie that wants to use their phone and get in your way, I literally get my assistants to confiscate their stuff and take it away. I literally, apart from the bride, I'm king on the wedding day. So please take your phone and move. I'm very strict with that. I'm super strict with that.
So do
you hit them with that 56 mil, eh?
No, I think the 50 to 140, it's good. It's got some good
There we
reach.
go.
So just,
Can
Okay,
I can I
yeah,
also say something there? See, for me, it's not something that actually really bothers me. The only reason we will ask them not to kind of use the cell phones or the iPads and so on is because I had a bride once that asked me for photos of a family, in the front row, and
yes,
I all I had was this, So that's the only
yes,
reason. But for me, it's actually part of the event, and we're moving on with the times. And
yeah,
look, they're gonna end up with more photos from like those kind of scalar moments, the ones that we might miss or
that we
whatever.
don't get. Yes,
Um,
yes.
yeah.
yes,
So for me, it's actually they're part of the event, and I try to capture
yeah,
if there's a lot of phones, and we've had that, especially with African weddings.
yes,
There's a million phones everywhere, so
yes,
I capture it as part of the event. We just ask them just to keep the, if the bride is walking down the aisle or so, just to keep that area clean for us.
yes.
Otherwise, they
Okay.
can they can just gooi millies and go ahead and capture whatever they need.
No, 100%. Okay, so yeah, stranger and a good friend and a fellow Fuji shooter and Fujifilm ex-photographer, Tom Millman. I've actually worked with him on a wedding because I brought him in on the wedding of my friends, and he handles the uncle iPad. He makes him the center of attention. He starts shooting this uncle. Eventually, the uncle puts the camera down and or the iPad down and runs away. Right, so guys, we're going to come to the end. I know there are some one or two questions, but we did time this at 45 minutes. We're slightly over because we do have, I think we have load shedding coming in,
Yeah,
and it
yeah.
can just cause complication with bandwidths and whatnot. So, guys, I really want to first of all welcome you to the Godox South Africa family. We've got some brilliant,
Thank
brilliant
you.
activations happening for 2022, where we know without a doubt both of you are going to be very, very involved. We're super excited having both of you guys on board for 2022. And I can tell you, viewers, also thank you for joining. And this is not the last you see of this trio in that sense. We're definitely going to be down in Durban. We're not inviting Sherwin. Don't worry, Lood. We'll stay
Thank you,
the other
Chris.
side. Okay, yeah.
Like
Maybe Rosie's, yeah.
you do know that I control the toll gates here, right? You know that,
Yes,
right?
I know that.
You can't
You see,
you
we've
can't
got to
get to
watch that.
Durban. You can't get to
Without your
Durban unless you
permission.
go through me.
There we go. Okay. We're going to have to keep that off social media. Okay. Maybe
It'll have
we
to be
stay.
off. It'll have to be off the grid.
Yes, maybe we stay inland, we'll stay inland. But guys, but guys, and I've got to say again, thank you for taking your time and joining us. We've had a great viewership. I need to tell you, awesome questions, guys. Sorry I couldn't cover all the questions, but we are tight with time. We're Lood and Sherman are going to wave and go peace out and say thank you. Cheers, guys, and we will see you soon. Cheerio,
Cheers.
cheerio. Right, guys, thank you so much. It really, really was an awesome turnout with public viewers. And again, sorry I couldn't get to all these questions. And I'd really like to thank you guys for joining. And yes, to next week. Let's see what we can bring up. We stay tuned to our social media platforms. Look at our pages, Godox South Africa. Look at GPB batteries. Look at the new brand influencer pages. Our brand ambassador pages. We share all our activations and happenings amongst each other. So once again, thank you so much, and Steve out.